happy birthday to you.
Hey guys, it's time to celebrate another big BKFK birthday. Happy birthday, George! George, we hope your 5th birthday is the best birthday ever. Hey listeners, we have an important announcement. As you know, BKFK can only keep going with the support of our generous subscribers on Patreon. You keep us running, you help us cover our costs, and you let us dedicate more time to writing, finding, and producing the most imaginative and delightful stories for you. As our way of saying thanks, we really want to give you guys the best rewards that we can. So, we are conducting a survey, a poll, in which we'd love you to tell us what works for you. It will only take a few minutes to fill out and would really help us a lot. To participate in the survey, please find the link in the show notes of this episode or go to bykids4kids.co and click on Survey. Okay, Ruby, over to you.
Winnie the Pooh, Chapter 7, Part 2, in which Kanga and Baby Roo come to the forest and Piglet has a bath.
I'm Quinn as Winnie the Pooh. I'm 9 years old, I live in New Zealand, and I really like Lego.
And Aurelia as Piglet.
And I am 12 years old. I live in Dubai, but I'm from Italy and England, half and half.
Anna as Kanga. I live in Seattle, Washington, and I like cats.
And Sai as Rabbit. And I'm from Bangalore, Karnataka, India. And I'm interested in studies, sports, and reading. I also have my own podcast, and it's all about astronomy. It is called as the Astronomy Podcast, and it is available in Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, etc.
I'm Henry as Christopher Robin. I'm 6 years old. I'm from America, but I live in Germany, and I like comics and lollies.
Kanga and Roo were spending a quiet afternoon in a sandy part of the forest. Baby Roo was practicing very small jumps in the sand and falling down mouse holes and climbing out of them. And Kanga was fidgeting about and saying,
"Just one more jump, dear, and then we must go home."
And at that moment, who should come stumping up the hill but Pooh?
Good afternoon, Kanga.
Good afternoon, Pooh.
Look at me jumping!
Squeaked Roo and fell into another mouse hole.
Hello, Roo, my little fella.
We were just going home.
Said Kanga.
Good afternoon, Rabbit. Good afternoon, Piglet.
Rabbit and Piglet, who had now come up from the other side of the hill, said,
Good afternoon.
And
Hello, Roo.
And Roo asked them to look at him jumping, so they stayed and looked. And Kanga looked too.
Oh, Kanga,
said Pooh, after Rabbit had winked at him twice.
I don't know if you're interested in poetry at all.
Hardly at all.
Oh.
Rudy, just one more jump, and then we must go home.
There was a short silence while Roo fell down another mouse hole.
Go on,
said Rabbit in a loud whisper behind his paw.
Talking of poetry, I made up a little piece as I was coming along. It went like this. Now let me see.
Fancy. Now, Roo, dear.
You like this piece of poetry,
said Rabbit.
You'll love it,
said Piglet.
You must listen very carefully,
so as not to miss any of it.
Oh, yes,
said Kanga, but she still looked at Baby Roo.
How did it go, Pooh?
Pooh gave a little cough and began.
Lions written by a bear of very little brain. On Monday when the sun is hot, I wonder to myself a lot. Now is it true or is it not? That what is which and which is what? On Tuesday when it hails and snows, The feeling on me grows and grows, that hardly anybody knows if those are these or these are those. On Wednesday when the sky's blue and I have nothing else to do, I sometimes wonder if it's true that who is what and what is who. On Thursday when it starts to freeze and hoar frost twinkles on the trees, how very readily one sees that these are whose, but whose are these. On Friday...
Yes, it is, isn't it?
said Kanga, not waiting to hear what happened on Friday.
Just one more jump, Roo dear, and then they really must be going.
Rabbit gave Pooh a hurrying up sort of nudge.
Talking of poetry,
Said Pooh quickly.
have you ever noticed that tree right over there?
Where? Now, Roo...
Right over there.
Said Pooh, pointing behind Kanga's back.
No. Now jump in, Roo dear, and we'll go home.
You ought to look at that tree right over there.
Said Rabbit,
Shall I lift you in, Roo?
and he picked up Roo in his paws.
I can see a bird in it from here.
Said Pooh,
Or is it a fish?
You ought to see that bird from here,
said Rabbit,
unless it's a fish.
It isn't a fish. It's a bird.
said Piglet.
So it is.
Is it a starling or a blackbird?
That's the whole question. Is the blackbird or a starling?
And then at last Kanga did turn her head to look. And the moment that her head was turned, Rabbit said in a loud voice,
In you go, Roo.
and in jumped Piglet into Kanga's pocket. And off scampered Rabbit with Roo in his paws as fast as he could,
Why, where is Rabbit?
said Kanga, turning round again.
Are you all right, Roo dear?
Piglet made a squeaky Roo noise from the bottom of Kanga's pocket.
Rabbit had to go away.
Said Pooh,
I think he had thought about something that he had to go see about suddenly.
And Piglet?
I think Piglet thought of something at the same time. Suddenly.
Well, we must be getting home. Goodbye, Pooh.
and in 3 large jumps she was gone. Pooh looked after her as she went.
I wish I could jump like that. Some can and some can't. That's how it is.
But there were moments when Piglet wished that Kanga couldn't. Often, when he had had a long walk home through the forest, he had wished that he was a bird. But now he thought jerkily to himself at the bottom of Kanga's pocket.
If this is flying, I shall never really take to it.
And as he went up in the air, he said,
Ooh.
and as he came down, he said,
Ow.
and he was saying,
Ooh, ow. Ooh, ow. Ooh, ow.
all the way to Kanga's house. Of course, as soon as Kanga unbuttoned her pocket, she saw what had happened. Just for a moment, she thought she was frightened, and then she knew she wasn't, for she felt quite sure that Christopher Robin would never let any harm happen to Roo. So she said to herself,
If they are having a joke with me, I'll have a joke with them. Now then, Roo dear.
she said as she took Piglet out of her pocket.
Bedtime.
Aha.
Said Piglet as well as he could after his terrifying journey. But it wasn't very good,
Aha.
and Kanga didn't seem to understand what it meant.
Bath first.
Said Kanga in a cheerful voice.
Aha.
Said Piglet again, looking round anxiously for the others. But the others weren't there. Rabbit was playing with baby Roo in his own house, and feeling more fond of him every minute. And Pooh, who had decided to be a Kanga, was still at the sandy place on the top of the forest, practicing jumps.
I'm not at all sure
Said Kanga in a thoughtful voice.
that it wouldn't be a good idea to have a cold bath this evening. Would you like that, Roo dear?
Piglet, who had never been really fond of baths, shuddered a long, indignant shudder and said in a brave voice as he could,
Kanga, I see that the time has come to speak plainly.
Funny little Roo.
said Kanga as she got the bathwater ready.
I am not Roo.
said Piglet loudly.
I am Piglet.
Yes, dear, yes.
Said Kanga soothingly.
And imitating Piglet's voice too. So clever of him.
She went on as she took a large bar of yellow soap out of the cupboard.
What will he be doing next?
Can't you see? Haven't you got eyes? Look at me.
I am looking, Roo dear. You know what I told you yesterday about making faces? If you go on making faces like Piglet's, you will grow up to look like Piglet. And then think how sorry you will be. Now then, into the bath. And don't let me have to speak to you about it again.
Before he knew where he was, Piglet was in the bath, and Kanga was scrubbing him firmly with a large lathery flannel.
Ow!
Cried Piglet.
Let me out. I'm Piglet.
Don't open the mouth, dear, or the soap goes in. There, what did I tell you?
You did it on purpose.
Spluttered Piglet as soon as he could speak again, and then accidentally had another mouthful of lathery flannel.
That's right, dear, don't say anything.
Said Kanga. And in another minute, Piglet was out of the bath and being rubbed dry with a towel.
Now, there's your medicine, and then bed.
Whoa, what medicine?
To make you grow big and strong, dear. You don't want to grow up small and weak like Piglet, do you? Well then.
At that moment, there was a knock at the door.
Come in,
said Kanga, and in came Christopher Robin.
Christopher Robin! Christopher Robin! Tell Kanga who I am. She keeps saying that I'm Roo. I'm not Roo, am I?
Christopher Robin looked at him very carefully and shook his head.
You can't be Roo. I just seen Roo playing in Rabbit's house. Well, fancy that. Fancy my making a mistake like that.
There you are. I told you so. I'm Piglet.
Christopher Robin shook his head again.
Oh, you're not Piglet. I know Piglet well. He's quite a different color.
Piglet began to say that this was because he had just had a bath, and then he thought that perhaps he wouldn't say that. And as he opened his mouth to say something else, Kanga slipped the medicine spoon in, and then patted him on the back and told him that it was really quite a nice taste when you got used to it.
I knew it wasn't Piglet. I wonder who it can be. Perhaps it's some relation of Pooh,
said Christopher Robin.
from a nephew or uncle or something.
Kanga agreed that this was probably what it was, and that they would have to call it by some name.
I should call it Pootle.
Said Christopher Robin.
Henry Pootle, for sure.
And just when it was decided, Henry Pootle wriggled out of Kanga's arms and jumped to the ground. To his great joy, Christopher Robin had left the door open. Never had Henry Pootle Piglet run so fast as he ran then, and didn't stop running until he had gotten quite close to his house. But when he was 100 yards away, he stopped running and rolled the rest of the way home, so as to get his own nice, comfortable color again. So Kanga and Roo stayed in the forest. And every Tuesday, Roo spent the day with his great friend Rabbit. And every Tuesday, Kanga spent the day with her great friend Pooh, teaching him to jump. And every Tuesday, Piglet spent the day with his great friend Christopher Robin. So they were all happy again.
Hey guys, if you like this episode, please share it with your friends and family. It is one of the best ways to support BKFK Storytime.